All right, welcome to this functional performance workout. I'm going to take you through the full workout here in a second, but I just want to give you some context of how to use this workout. You have three options. Option one is you can just follow this video, follow the program here, and go through this day, this workout, once a week, once every other week, just to start introducing some functional athletic movements into your current routine. Option two is if you really want to start using the weight room to increase your performance at a sport, then go ahead and contact me or go to my website and sign in. And this is actually day one of a 3-day athletic training program. And you can print off this program. I'll send you the videos for day 2 and day 3. And you can start this more in-depth, a more serious take on sport performance in the gym. And then option 3 is even more advanced. If you're really an athlete and training for sport, then you need a program designed for you, your sport, what time of year it is, your season, all that stuff. So I'm going to get right into the workout. This first 3 minutes is just a recap section. I'm going to go really fast through all the exercises, explain how to do them, just so you can always press play and watch the first 3 minutes to recap the exercises each week, or after these 3 minutes, watch the video in its entirety, and I'm going to go into really good detail about each exercise. So let's get started. We're going to start with dynamic pigeon stretch. For this, I'm showing you on a box, but you could do it on a bench or on the ground. Just have something holding up your knee so it's not stretching across that knee. We're leaning forward, you're pushing your knee, driving your knee into the bench, and stretching that glute out. You'll do both sides for about 15 seconds or 5 pushes. Then you're going to go into sumo squat, sumo stance RDL. For this, just remember 3 things. Push the hips back, knees out, and pressing through that big toe. So you're in this big wide stance, you're driving your hips back, your knees are out, but you're maintaining pressure in that big toe. This is going to stretch the groin and hamstring, and you're going to pull with your glutes to stand back up straight. Hinging down about 5 times. Then last one is a deep lunge or a quad stretch. You have a couple options here. Put your foot on the bench, box, or just on the ground, but it's for this back leg, that leg, the huge hip extension. We're stretching that quad and hip flexor. Squeeze the abs to make sure you have a neutral pelvis, and lunge forward. And you can also make it a little dynamic by driving your foot into the box away. All right, so that's circuit A. You're going to go through that for 3 sets. Then you're going to go to circuit B, which is Mike Tyson push-ups. This is driving your feet into the wall. You're piking back, piking up and over your weight of your hands. You're going to do a push-up and then pike back again. Really tight core, drive, stable shoulders, push the ground away, make it nice and athletic, give me some power, and yeah, treat it almost like an ab roller as you come out. So that's exercise 1 in B, and then B2 is single leg hip bridge with a crunch. You can always just do single leg hip bridges. All you're doing is driving one foot into the ground, tight core, so your back doesn't kick on. I don't want hamstring or lower back, I just want your glute max. Drive the foot into the ground, squeeze the glute, and then I'm crunching away from that foot and driving my hand into the opposite knee. That crunch turns off my lower back and really lets me roll and push away with that glute max. So you're going to do 4 on each side there. And then lastly, we're going to do hip cars. Just remember this order. You're going to go high knee, internally rotate, that kicks that foot out to the side. You're going to pull that leg around, drop. Then you're going to, on the way back, you bend that foot up, knees at 90 degrees. You kick back and out. You abduct that knee away. You pull the knee back in front and you drop it down. You're going to do that 3 on each side. And that's circuit B. You're going to do that for 3 sets, or 4 sets. Circuit C is also 4 sets. This is the main circuit. Put all your effort into it. It's a single arm row, or press, a single arm row, and a lunge to forward lunge. A reverse lunge to forward lunge. The press, just remember, don't let that band come back. You're staying active with it the whole time. Squeeze the chest. It's not turning you. Stagger your step. Turn away just a little bit, squeeze the chest, drive. Nice and heavy, 6 to 8 reps. That's how heavy I want it to be. You got 4 sets of that. Then you're going single arm row for For single arm row, stagger your step, keep a really tight core. I want the row and the press to be just as much abs and legs as it is arms. So just for that row, make sure shoulder blades backing down, big chest. Don't overdrive the elbow. You're not driving that elbow so far back that it rounds your shoulder forward. Just a big chest, pull that shoulder blade back and down. You're going 6 to 8 on that. And then finally, reverse lunge, which is for the glute. Drop the hips down and back, chest goes forward to a front lunge, and you're stepping forward. That one's for the quad. You'll go back and forth, 6 on each leg, and then you're gonna do that whole circuit for 4 sets. Lastly, we got circuit D. Circuit D starts out with a hamstring. Keep a tight core, walk those feet out, press that lower back against the ground, then drive the hips up, squeezing those heels into the ground and back towards your butt. That will engage those hamstrings, and then wiggle those ankles back and forth to shut off the calves and work the shins a little bit. You're going about 10 seconds there, then you're gonna go up and you're gonna do the 90-90-90. The hardest part of this is finding the position, getting into the stretch. You're in the stretch, and now just extend that leg back, squeezing the glute. 5 on one side, 5 on the other. And then the last exercise in circuit D is skip. All right, so I just took you through the whole program of day 1. You can always watch this recap each week, but if this is your first time doing day 1, functional performance day, then watch this video in its entirety, because I'm gonna break down each one of these exercises in way more detail. All right, day 1 starts out with either a bench, a box, or a yoga mat and a foam roller. At the end, I'll show you how to do each circuit, circuit A exercise with all 3 of those modalities, but preferably an adjustable bench. So let's start with circuit A, dynamic pigeon stretch. I'm gonna take the adjustable bench, I'm gonna put it at a degree that I can handle, and I'm just doing this stretch. I'm digging this knee down and in, and I'm stretching that front leg glute. Why is it dynamic? Because I'd like, okay, so first, it took me a month just to get to this degree. So if you start working your way back to parallel with the ground, and it's just a stretch there in itself, then just hang out here. Do a static stretch. But once you kind of got it low, try to add a little dynamic movement to it too. I put my chest towards that knee, and I push away, squeezing that glute. You're gonna do about 15 seconds on one leg, 15 seconds on the other leg. I'm just gonna show it from a couple different angles. This is that pigeon stretch. Here, this leg sticks back, I squeeze this glute, I'm up and over, and I'm trying to add some dynamic movement. 15 seconds one leg, 15 seconds the other. And again, you can do this stretch on just the side of a box. You can just put your leg up on the side of a box, or you can do it on a yoga mat, but I like to put a foam roller under my knee. You gotta get creative, reach out if you don't have the equipment, or you don't wanna be doing stretches if the gym's busy on their 1 or 2 adjustable benches, then you can make this work. Sometimes they have stretch apparatuses that are meant for the pigeon stretch. So dynamic pigeon stretch, that's A1. Now we're gonna move on to sumo stance RDL. I'm gonna scoot back, I'm going sumo stance, nice and wide. I push the hips back, soft knee bend, drive the knees out, and I squeeze the glutes to stand back up. Hips back, knees out, squeeze the glutes to stand back up. Watch here, knees out, soft knee bend. I push those hips back, it's a big hinge. I keep a flat back, and I squeeze the glutes to stand back up. This should be a nice groin, hamstring stretch. Pull yourself back up. In the notes, you'll see I say knees out, hips back, use your glutes, but also there's one more important thing, and that's go as wide as you can, that you can still keep your knees out and pressure on that big toe. So I don't want the tension of this sumo stance RDL to go through the outside of your knee. That's not good. I want it to go active, athletic, so I'm gripping the ground and pressing with the big toe or inside edge of my foot to pull myself up. So again, if you feel yourself falling to the outside, grip the ground. But I have all the cues on there, all the notes, so check it out. Check out the program if you have any questions. And then the last one is just a deep lunge. All you're gonna do, again, you can do this on a box, just a yoga mat, or on the bench, preferably the bench. All you're doing is trying to come upright. This is why I like the bench, because I can kind of use this as the offhand. And all it is opening up this hip. I'm not trying to stretch this leg. I'm trying to squeeze this glute, dig that foot into the ground, and stretch the quad and hip flexor. Push out of it if you want, but it's about 15 seconds. Opening those hips up. Go ahead, switch sides, 15 seconds. Dig this glute, drive this foot into the ground, push back out of it. And again, you can do all these. Imagine if I was on the ground. You could do the pigeon stretch like this. I am sweeping that leg up, and I like a foam roller or a couple mats underneath my knee. You can do the sumo stance. Obviously, you don't need a bench for that. And then you can also do, if you have a foam roller, this big hip flexor. It's just a deep lunge stretch for that quad. So that's circuit A. We're gonna move on to circuit B. But just remember, all the notes, all the sets and reps are right there on the program. You're gonna go through that pigeon 15, sumo stance, 3 to 5 reps, deep lunge 15, and then you're gonna go back through it for 3 sets. All right, our hips are nice and mobile and warmed up from circuit A. We're gonna move on to B, and this is where things start getting ramped up a little bit. We're gonna start with Mike Tyson push-ups. I really like doing it on dumbbells, but I'm just for the sake of the video, I'm gonna do it on just my hands. I'm gonna push my feet, I'm driving my feet into the wall. I'm gonna pike back, I'm gonna come up and do a push-up. Pike back, do a push-up. Pike back, do a push-up. There's 5 of them. Now, that's pretty advanced. We have 4 sets, but it's only 5 reps, and it's just trying to get us warmed up. But keep in mind, if you can't drive your feet into a wall, you can always, and do push-ups off your knees, you can always drive your feet into the wall and keep your knees on the ground. And that way, it's nice and a bunch of core. Just remember, big chest, and the hands are going here. Tight core. Should almost feel like an ab rollout, especially if you can get those knees up. And you pike back like you're gonna do a squat. Shoulders are engaged, nice and active. Come out, push up, drive. 5 of those. Then you're gonna go 4 each side right here. I'm gonna hip thrust, but single leg. So let's take my right leg, I hip thrust, I'm just doing a hip bridge, and I drive my opposite hand into the opposite knee, and I'm twisting. So I'll show you this way. 2, I love doing this on a mat because I am rolling to side. So I drive this foot into the ground, I squeeze this glute, and I go opposite hand, opposite leg, and I push. That crunches me in. I'm crunched in. So you're gonna go 4 each side. So it goes 5 push-ups, 4 each side there. And then the last thing we're gonna do is hip cars, standing up. Now I didn't mention that, but in that hip bridge to crunch, you can always regress that by just doing a single leg hip bridge. Just squeeze the abs, and then maybe throw in some, or squeeze the glute in the hip bridge, and then maybe throw in some crunches to engage the core a little bit. But you can always break those 2 motions up. I like the feeling of driving away and crunching, driving away and crunching. And it's just 4 to each side. So 5 pike push-ups, 4 there, and then you're gonna go 3 of these hip cars. High knee, internally rotate, pull that knee around, drop, bend that knee to 90, keeping that knee in line so it squeezes my hamstring. I abduct the leg away from my body, and I pull it around this way. That looks easy, but you're gonna forget all the steps to that, so I have it written down in the notes. Just remember, it goes high knee, internally rotate. That's my femur is turning in, my foot's kicking out away from my body. High knee, I'm dorsiflexed, my toes are pulled to my shin, my ankle's right under my knee. That's a nice sprint mechanics. Internally rotate, pull that knee around, drop, then bend that knee to 90, squeezing that hamstring. Don't let the knee creep up here. I want the knee to stay back. Bend that knee to 90, abduct away from the body, and pull it around. You're gonna go 3. It's usually about this quick. 1 leg, 3 the other leg. I'm warming up, hopefully, glute max, and then a little bit of hip flexor, and then the glute med. So the glute max is that kick back, the glute med's abducting, pulling it away. So you're gonna go 3 on each leg, and then you're going back through that warm up 3 times. So you stretched, opened up the hips, and now we're getting the blood pumping. 5 piking push-ups, Mike Tyson push-ups, 4 ab hip thrusts, and then 3 hip cars on each side for 4 sets. We're gonna move on to circuit C. This is the main circuit. All right, we're gonna start on circuit C. This is our main circuit. I want 95% of your effort being used in circuit C. So the first exercise is a press. You can do this single arm shoulder press with a dumbbell, then you can do bent over rows dumbbell, and then you could do the lunges with nothing, it doesn't matter. You could do a band, I have a strong band, or you could do a cable machine. So just know you can do this main circuit C with any type of equipment. What I don't want is you switching in the circuit. So even that Mike Tyson crunch hip car, circuit B, I don't want you doing that at different places in the gym. That's all in one station, one circuit. And then same with this. I don't want this press to be somewhere and then you go to a dumbbell for bent over rows and then you go find somewhere else for the lunges. I want, if you have a cable machine, the cable machine's the press, the cable machine's the row, and the lunges. You know, I don't want you mixing those stations up. All right, so for the press, stagger the stance. I'm not perpendicular, I'm not straight up on, I'm not parallel with it. I kind of get into this athletic position, squat a little bit, tight core, and I press that chest, and I'm squeezing. It's like an incline bench, and I want it nice and heavy. I go 6 to 8 reps. I think I have 6 written down, but again, 6 to 8 reps. It depends on what kind of weight you can do, and you can always use that offhand. What I don't want is after the press for the cable, band, or dumbbell to turn you or drop to no tension. I want it nice and active the whole time. Nothing's moving. Good punches, 6 on one, load, tight core, 6 on the other. Nice and functional. You're planted, your legs are working, your core is working, and then that whole upper body is working on that press. Then you're gonna go to row, and it's the same idea. Legs, core, arms. This time, I stagger the arm that's rowing back a little bit. I'm squat, nice and athletic, tight core, control, nice and heavy. Don't let it twist you. I want your shoulder blade to come back and down just like a good strong row. Don't drive the elbow so far that it rolls the shoulder back. Pull, and then I want the scap or that shoulder blade to protract, retract. But I see far too often on even dumbbell is really letting it pull. I don't care if your shoulder blade pulls forward, but don't let it pull the shoulder itself forward. So on these rows, tight core, pull, control, pull. Nice and athletic, plant the feet, good rows. So that's, again, 6 to 8 reps, depending on what weight you choose and where you are in your program, if you're trying to put on more size, strength, or whatnot. And then lastly, it's a reverse lunge into a forward lunge. This is, I don't even like calling it a lunge because I want it to be pretty shallow. I want it to be here, almost like a sprint start, like you were gonna go run. So it's pretty shallow. I load the glute, and then I drop forward and I load this quad. That's all I'm doing. I come down, I load the glute, forward quad, glute, quad. So I do 6 on one leg, 6 on the other. Feel free to load it if you have the mechanics down perfect. If you can go glute to quad, glute to quad, and then just switch legs. Now my right leg is the reverse lunge, and my left leg is the front lunge. Glute, that's my reverse lunge. Quad. And I decelerate. I don't want any valgus, so my knee's not caving in. I stay out. My hips square, no drop in that hip. Glute, glute. Sit those hips back. Chest forward, hinge, find your glute. Quad is a little bit more upright. Drive through the legs. All right, it starts out with hamstring wiggle. For this, laying on our back, long lever, so I let those legs out. This would be a hip bridge, but this, digging those heels down and back, is a hamstring bridge. I'm lifting with my hamstrings, and I want you to alternate, let's scoot back a little bit, wiggling those ankles. So that way maybe you can get a little anterior tibialis, that shin's is gonna burn, but most of all that wiggle is to help shut off the calves. I don't want your lower back, I don't want your glutes, and I don't want your calves engaged, just hamstring. So I'm tight core, wiggle. About 10 seconds, 15, maybe 20. Squeeze those hamstrings. It depends on how many times you've done this. You'll sit up. We're gonna go into this 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. The hardest part is finding this position. When I first started out, I was on my elbow. No way could I do this sitting up. Now my hips have opened up, way more mobile. I'm more tolerant to be in positions that I normally wasn't, just by trying to spend time and being active in that. So all you're gonna do in this 90-90 is try to lift the knee and ankle at the exact same time and kick back for 5, squeezing this glute. If you go, there's no way I can lift the knee, but I can't lift the foot and knee at the same time, it's pinned down, then feel free to lunge over, lean over onto that leg or onto your elbow, and now this will give that hip a lot more room to want to contract. Squeeze 5 on one side, and then just switch sides. This should be mobility, it should be activation, and a little bit of strength. We're trying to decrease the tonicity of some muscles locking up, and then tell them, hey, it's okay to contract even though they're already pretty tight. So you're gonna go 5 on one, 5 on the other, and then the last one is just skip. This is a prerequisite to sprinting, jumping, hip extension. I don't care if you're a golfer and you need triple extension, hip, knee, ankle. Skipping is super effective. So you go out 20 yards, you can come back. You could do it in place. You can just take a step. If you're in a gym and don't want to look funny, skip it across the gym, which is pretty reasonable. You can skip in place, but try to get some single leg hip extension and control yourself down. So that's the circuit, that's our functional day. If you liked this functional day, taught you a couple new exercises and want to do the full athletic program, or you're like, that's pretty advanced, I want to work up to this, I have prerequisite programs, I have programs that progress towards this. I have a bunch of different programs on my website. Just reach out to me, contact me. I'm $11 a month, personal training, online. But yeah, that's our functional day. Check it out and let me know how you do. You don't even have to be an online client or not, but if you jump in and try one of these workouts, let me know how it goes. All right, good work. Thanks.